Well, hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Blog Rundown, the weekly show where we discuss all the written reviews from our writing team here at Movie Burner Entertainment. And we're going to discuss the first movie, John, and it's one from DM Anderson. It's The Great Battle from 2018, which was directed by Kwang Shik Kim, and it stars In Sung Jo, Sung Woong Park, and Joo Hyuk Nam. This is a Korean film, if you didn't guess.
He's a few, says
yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to come in?
Yeah, you come in. I'm exhausted after that.
I'll try and explain the backstory of this film, Stephen. It's basically about the Siege of Anzhi, which was apparently a 3-month-long campaign in one of the fortresses of Goryeo, defending itself, I should say, against the soldiers of the Tang dynasty in the year of 645. Now, apparently, despite these chaps being outnumbered tremendously, I think it was 5,000 troops against 200,000 troops, I think they managed to hold them off, Stephen. I've not seen the film myself, so I can't say for any great degree of certainty, but having read DM's review, I think I can say with a great deal of certainty that they managed to hold them off for a good while, at the very least.
It does have echoes of 300 in
300 and obviously Helm's Deep from the Two Towers. That was just the vibes I got. Having watched the trailer on YouTube, Stephen, because I haven't seen the film, as I did say, I wanted to get a vibe of what was going on in this film, and I have to say I was impressed by that trailer. I was impressed first and foremost by the incredibly fluid and slick cinematography, the way the camera was swooping down from aerial shots. I presume that'd be a drone shot, but it was fantastic. And just past, I mean, even in the big epic scale of these battles and these sieges, or this siege, because there wasn't plural sieges, there's only one. I liked the fact that it did seem to home in on 4 or 5 or maybe even half a dozen characters, and it was giving you a degree of introspectiveness as well as the big grand scale of the battle itself. So that was an intriguing thing. Dave liked it. He says the film quickly laid the groundwork leading into the standoff, and it wastes no time establishing the Tangs, led by the ruthless Emperor Lee Shaiman. Apparently he's played by Park Sung-woong, and the guys, they're the guys that the audience member loves to hate. He says that essentially they're admired and respect Manchun, who was had undying loyalty of everyone living in the village, and that naturally they all banded together to defend themselves against the inevitable Tang siege. So it was intriguing, Stephen, as you did say. There's definite vibes of 300 in there. This is obviously something that's been wildly used again and again, that kind of a slick cinematography and just the visuals of that film. It's very unique, and we've seen that concept taken and maybe done to death in Western civilization, but certainly I don't know about Eastern civilization where it's been done to death there. I know you've watched a hell of a lot of Chinese films and Korean films.
John, I was just going to come in with in regards to the key sort of things I picked up from the review was the against the odds story. It doesn't seem to be heavily focused on that in this film. This is, as DM says, it is more for action film fans, and that can work to a degree if that's your kind of thing. Films like The House of Flying Daggers and dare I say Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon from Asia, these films come along not that often, where you've got a beautifully written script, a very intriguing storyline, interesting characters, and you get the great battle scenes as well in those films. But as I said, these come very few and far between. And in regards to this, that doesn't seem to be the case. It's still a film I'd like to see though, because I do like action films as well. And from, as you said, that trailer,
it looked great.
It looked fantastic. Some of the shots that we saw in that trailer reminded me of some of the things that James Wan does. Very long shots, covers kind of the scope of the battle around the.
I just get so
scenery.
much vibes of Lord of the Rings when I was seeing these thousands of troops. Just reminiscent, brought up reminiscent. Tripping out my nut here, Steve.
No.
I'll get there. It brought just was very reminiscent. There you go, of the climatic battles in the likes of the Two Towers at Helm's Deep, and obviously the Return of the King at the end at Minas Tirith. And obviously the forces of Mordor came out to meet Aragorn, and and the gang. So it was very reminiscent of that. I enjoyed that aspect of the trailer. I do think I'd enjoy this film. I do like a foreign language film. I have watched the likes of Ip Man and stuff like that. They've got a knack for delivering a very fluid visual experience. They know how to give us great cinematography and great action sequences and stuff like that. I was actually tripping Steve when I read out previously about Samuel learning to admire and respect Manchun. He was actually sent to kill Manchun. He was one of the guys in the defending city. Samuel was part of the Tang, and he learns to admire and respect him, and I think he ends up fighting alongside him in the siege. I've seen this done in Hostels with Christian Bale, and obviously the Native American chief, who he was tasked to take back to his homeland. He was dying and he had to take him back to give him a proper burial. The two hated each other at first, but over the running time of the film, they grew to admire each other tremendously, and there was a great bond there. And you've seen the development in the character Christian Bale was playing, and just almost maturing and changing his mindset and growing up in a sense. So it's similar to this. That's the vibes I'm getting off of the review, at least anyway. That he comes in, he's got a certain mindset, and then it slowly changes when he gets to see this man, see that he's no different to him, and just see the respect he has, and just obviously the love for his small village. So I like that. I like the fact it's got that introspective nature as well.
As well as the action as well. DM does say there is a few subplots, but they're very uninteresting. And there's a couple of bickering commanders, and there's also a couple of young fighters who are in love. And he says that really all he's interested in is the action sequences. And that's what this film is. I don't think it's trying to be anything other than that. It throws in a few subplots just to, make it a little bit more interesting. But I think it's more predominantly action based. Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. As you said, that Man trilogy, that was action based.
Absolutely superb.
Donnie Yen is an amazing actor, but the character, it was an interesting character. That man, it was obviously based on the true story of Ip Man, who taught Bruce Lee, but Bruce Lee as well. His films, no one's ever said, Bruce Lee's films are amazingly acted, or the cinematography's outstanding. It was very low budget, and people went into it to see the action. That's what I get from this one.
And that was down to the calibre of the man involved in the film, Stephen, just what he brought to the screen. That magnetism, that chemistry. But look, all in all, I would think I would thoroughly enjoy this film. I'd probably give it a bash. It sounds very intriguing. It's got a nice mixture of, as you said, subplots that are maybe a little bit more inward looking, and the big grand scale of the battle. And it's always great to look at a bit of history that I'm not hugely familiar with. I'm a great lover of history, as you do know, Stephen. So certainly I'd give it a bash. And you go on to Rotten Tomatoes, Stephen, there is a little bit of feedback. I don't think it's actually got an out-and-out score from the critics, although people have been scoring 90% from the audience.
Very impressive,
so, I mean, they're saying what's not to like when there are weapons such as weapon names such as Malevolent Wood, Siege Tower and Wolf Teeth Striker. Again, reminiscing up memories of Tolkien's books and just his great desire of naming these weapons, just a whole host of ridiculous names. But they're saying, to my surprise, director Kim Kwang-sik did a clever job of masking his actors' weak points and making the most of their strengths in this action-packed flick. So it's action-packed, and the director seems to have done a great job of bringing the maybe subpar actors up to greater than the sum of their parts.
Listen, I'll end this discussion on I love action films and I love Asian cinema, so I will definitely give this a bash based on that review. But we'll move on to our next review, John. This is one that came in from Philip Henry. It's another film from last year. We were actually just talking about this earlier this week. Just kind of skimmed the surface because we knew it was entering the box office chat. But we can talk about it in great depth now. It's Bumblebee. And this was directed by Travis Knight, as we know, and it stars the likes of Haley Steinfeld, George Lendelberg, John Cena's in there as well, and the screenplay was written by Christina Hodson. Now, John, you've seen this film. I did put my hands up earlier this week saying I've not got round to seeing this movie yet, based on my previous experience of the Transformer movies, which I'm not judging this film on that. No, I will get round to seeing it. And you shouldn't. Because I do like the sound of this film. I love the trailer as well. Talking about the visuals earlier on this week. And it's one of those films I will get round to seeing. Just based on the visuals, and also I do hear it's got a killer soundtrack as well. It's got a sublime soundtrack, Stephen. A brilliant 80s inspired soundtrack. It's obviously set in the 1980s. It's a prequel to the events of the first Transformers film. It's set in 1987 to be more precise, and as you did say, Stephen, directed by Travis Knight, a guy who, albeit I've only seen one of his other previous films, but I get so much enjoyment out of Kubo and the Two Strings that I have to say.
I think he's a perfect man to reinvigorate this ailing franchise, and I think he's done an absolutely superb job of reinvigorating it. I think this is the direction they should continue on with subsequent releases in this perhaps fresher take on the Transformers franchise. As Philip does say, he watched the first 3 films, I think, and he slowly began to lose interest because it was something, I mentioned it as well, it's ever diminishing returns. The first film I thought was okay, subsequent releases just got worse and worse, and that's just Michael Bay and his obsession with action-packed CG fests, essentially, and that's what they are. Light on the character development, light on the just anything other than just big bombastic visuals. Whereas Travis Knight and the people involved in Bumblebee they've got some great visual moments in there. There's some great CG moments in there as well, Stephen. But I have to say they do focus more on the character of I can't mind her name actually, but Hayley Steinfeld's character. They focus on her. They focus on the Bumblebee himself, who is suffering from slight amnesia. He has his memory units temporarily wiped. He's got a damaged motor in his system or his body or whatever, which affects his ability to speak. He can't speak. So there's a great, interesting dynamic between those two characters. They grow closer as the film progresses, and we do see the Decepticons arriving on Earth to inflict some chaos into the proceedings. But I liked the fact it was slower. It wasn't in a great big rush to get to the climactic battle. There wasn't 50 million Decepticons or Transformers in there, just involved in a big, huge CG pile of crap, essentially. But I enjoyed it, Stephen. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I fully echo all of Philip's sentiments. If I was to write a review of his film, I think it would be word for word pretty much what he's put down here.
Charlie, her name was.
Charlie. The character of Charlie, she essentially pulls the film, Stephen. Philip does say that. Hayley Steinfeld has the overwhelming majority of the running time, and she carries it with absolute ease. I've seen her in The Age of 17 in films of that. She's a fantastic young up-and-coming actress, and really good. John Cena in there as well, playing the antagonistic figure. I don't know what it is about John. I do like him off the screen. I think he's a great guy. But having watched wrestling for a number of years with him involved in it, not so much now, knowing that he's a very good guy in that, and I know he's a good guy in real life as well. It's just hard to see him playing an antagonistic figure and being able to take him serious. I can't take it serious. And look, as I did say, Stephen, I thoroughly enjoyed the visuals. I've said it time and again. I completely agree with what Phil says as well, with hints of Buster Keaton or Laurel and Hardy at the start. Just that kind of he's very
clumsy.
Yeah, very clumsy, because he's waking up in this strange environment. Doesn't know his surroundings. He's seeing this strange figure in front of him. So that's great. I like that.
I think that's deliberate though on the filmmaker's part, that this film, it's not going to take itself that serious. There's going to be elements of humour in there. Keep the tone very light and make it an enjoyable film for the family. Just going back to the soundtrack though, John, I had a little look at the soundtrack. Some of my favourite bands are in there. Smiths, Tears for Fears are in there as well. Sammy Hagar as well, I Can't Drive 55, which was more notably in Back to the Future 2. And Marty returns to the alternate 1985, as you know. And
Biff is an absolute chaos.
Biff's almost like Donald Trump.
Biff is Donald Trump.
But
that's Donald Trump.
Simple Minds, our very own Simple Minds in there as well. Don't you forget about me. It's a terrific soundtrack. On absolutely that alone, fantastic. I would probably watch it. But as you said, that description from yourself, the review as well, coming in from Philip, it's certainly a film that I was always intrigued to see based on the trailer. But I think now that I've read the review, I've heard the feedback from yourself as well, John. I'm going to see this film. Obviously, it'll probably be once it comes out on digital download, probably, or Blu-ray. But I think probably in digital download, I'll capture this one in. Yeah,
I'll round up by saying, Stephen, and again, completely echoing Philip's sentiments by saying that the film has a great emotional core and a sense of fun that was sadly lacking in the Bay instalments of this franchise. And it does. I said earlier, it has a great emotional core featuring Charlie and Bumblebee, and it also has a kind of a romantic side plot with I can't mind the young guy's name, Mimo I think it may be, where he's been kind of watching Charlie from afar. This kind of reminds me of what you call him, Stephen Merchant in Extras. I've been secretly watching you from afar. But he has. He's an awkward chat, so it was great seeing that blossoming, seeing Charlie developing. She's kind of she's a mechanic, but she's in the periphery of the cool kids at school and stuff like that, so she learns to grow and accept herself as the film progresses. And all in all, I really enjoyed it, Stephen. I can't really give it on much more. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was the Transformers film that we all deserved. 92% rating on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics, 79% from the audience. all in pretty much harmonious agreement that this is a fantastic film, and I completely echo those sentiments. Want to see Travis Knight continuing this franchise going forward because he knows what he's doing. He knows how to do slower, more introspective character character studies with the big bombastic visuals.
Sounds good to me, John. But we'll move on to our final review this week. It's Cherokee Creek from 2018. I hope I pronounced that right. Us Brits, we struggle with certain words that are American based. But
I think you pronounced it smashingly.
But this movie review came in from our new writer, Gianni Di Maia, and this film was directed by Todd Jenkins. It was actually Todd that contacted ourselves and asked if we could give it a screening, and Gianni happily took up the task of watching the movie and reviewing it. It's a very extensive review. It's a terrific review. It breaks everything down in regards to the positives and the negatives as well. Every film's got a negative in it somewhere. Some more than others, but
Stephen,
this film,
I did say to you, I'm in the midst of trying to review Glass, and I've had a bit of a mental breakdown because I just
like that though, don't you?
I can't.
But listen, we'll move on, John, before you have another breakdown. But listen, this film, Gianni's review kind of builds a picture. I've not seen this film yet. I'll hopefully capture this over the next few weeks or so, based on the review itself. It's tried to recapture those 80s hits, the genre of the likes of the Monster Squad. I don't know if you've ever seen that film, John. It might have been before your time, but it's that kind of deliberate B-movie effect. You know, they're going out their way to make sure it's low budget, whether or not that's the filmmaker's choice or not. But films like the Monster Squad, where they balance humour and horror, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I can't really comment on that other than what Gianni says in his review. Some of the humour though is more based round about the early 2000s. We were talking about this before we came on air, John. It's very sort of American Pie based humour. Loser, Dude, Where's My Car, if you get the picture.
Ashton Kutcher and the guy from American Pie, I forget his name, the Stifler.
Yeah, Stifler, yeah. I can't remember his name actually.
Can't remember his name either.
It'll come to me. But it's kind of trying to find that balance with humour and horror. I think it's a Sasquatch. I think that's what the sort of character, the monster lurking.
Sean William Scott, Stephen.
Sean William Scott is lurking in the forest. But Gianni does mention that the Bigfoot character is pretty much secondary in this, which I think is surprising considering it's a horror film. That should be your focus, but it seems to focus more on these sort of these characters.
It's not a completely alien concept in this sort of a franchise, or the franchise of this genre, Steve.
Yeah, the genre,
I'm clearly still suffering from post-traumatic stress trying to review Glass. But it's not an alien concept to this genre. I've seen it in the likes of The Witch, Stephen, where there's a coven, or a covenant of witch, I don't know if it's a coven of witches in the woods. We'll not go there again. We've done that before, yeah, we have, or I have. But there's witches in the woods, but they play second fiddle to the actual ominous feeling of the surroundings itself. They utilise the claustrophobic feeling of this young family being stuck in the middle of I don't know what century it was, the time of the Salem witch trials in New England. So they utilise the surroundings and the actual scenery itself, and the actual antagonistic figure lurking within the woods plays second fiddle. So it's something that's been done before. But I thoroughly enjoyed this review once again from Gianni. I thought he pretty much broke the film down in an analytical way, and I really did get great enjoyment out of reading it. I like the fact that he says it's very much inspired by the 1980s horror genres, the likes of Craven, Romero and Carpenter, who all had major strides in that era, and we've seen subsequently the likes of Stranger Things going back and trying to recapture that nostalgic spirit. We've seen it with it, going back and trying to capture the 1980s horror spirit. We've seen it with Halloween. It wasn't set in the 1980s, but it really did go back with that kind of vibe with the town. And look, that's something that's right up my street. As you do know, Stephen, I reviewed and watched Kung Fury, which wasn't a horror genre, a fantastic movie, but it was an action B-movie homage to all the...
it was being deliberate.
Being deliberate with its one-liners and its visuals and the over-the-top kind of a fighting styles, and just... it was a great homage. So this feels like it's maybe the horror equivalent, where it's paying homage to that distinctive 80s style of horror. I like the fact that it's a ragtag group that are morally bankrupt. Celebrating
well, we're going to talk about that, John, because Gianni does mention that, you know, in this day and age, some of the characteristics of this mob are probably a little bit outdated, but it really depends where you're setting the film. If you're setting it up as an 80s film, if it's supposed to be set in 80s, I don't know if it is supposed to be. Some of the views, some of the behaviour of the adult males would have been acceptable in its day, not today's standards.
And you just have to be realistic, Stephen, that some groups of young males, when they're out and about on a bachelor party in the middle of a woods, will act in a way which is maybe not politically correct even in today's society. No. That's just a fact of life, sadly.
Gianni does mention as well, John, just before I let you back in, just in regards to what we're talking about at the moment, he does say, to his knowledge, this film was banned from Amazon streaming services.
Not surprised,
due to its graphic content, given the amount of blood and nudity. Now, that's up to Amazon at the end of the day, what they want to stream and what they don't want to stream. That doesn't make the filmmakers right or wrong in my book. It really depends what you're looking for in a film and what you want to get out of in a film as well. He also mentions at the very end of his review, Gianni, that he did go ahead and rent this as well. Although we did get a screener, he did go to iTunes and
it's always important to support rented it. Independent filmmaker.
And he does say that, and he encourages anyone reading this to do the same. Just based on, because it's a low budget film from an independent filmmaker, and you know, I'm full support of that.
Listen, Stephen, I can't tip my hat enough to people getting out there and trying to produce and direct and make and do screenplays for a film, and it's a very difficult thing to do, something I don't think I would be capable of doing. Certainly, I'd give it a bash, but
I think there's a lot of hard work, John, in regards to the groundwork and try to get your film out there. We've seen it in a lot of screeners that have came to us in the past couple of years, where we try and do what we can, but they must be going through a lot of you know, entertainment platforms, try to get the word out there, and it's a very hard thing to do in this day and age, you know.
But I'll finish on saying I'm not surprised it's been banned on Amazon, Stephen, the streaming service, because Gianni does say the gratuitous nudity, gore and general depravity, which is customary in this genre, is taken to its absolute maximum in Cherokee Creek. So, not surprised. That line he says where the film opens, or its opening shots, features a man walking around with his best friend's dismembered hand or arm with his genitalia still on it. So that's intriguing. Some of the things I don't think I'd enjoy so much. Like the whole masturbation thing in front of friends and things like that sounds a little bit strange to me, I've got to be honest with you. But look, it sounds violent, it sounds gory, it sounds like a kind of a claustrophobic sort of a wood thing, and there's a Bigfoot in there. What more do you want? We all love Bigfoot.
If that's your thing, then go ahead and watch the film. But listen, that just brings us to the end of this week's edition of the Blog Rundown. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us, and we'll be back again tomorrow with a Force Friday show.